The cook said she dropped a pan. He had heard better lies. One glance at that splinted wrist told him everything he needed. Somebody had hurt her, and in Nestore Megginson's world, that was the same as signing your own death warrant. Before we dive in, I'm thrilled this corner of the internet keeps growing. Drop your name or favorite late-night snack below, and please subscribe to this channel. Nestore Megginson did not trust accidents. At 5:52 a.m., he stood in the grand hallway outside the kitchen, ledger open on the console table beneath the gold lamp, numbers tracking shipments that kept the city running. But Nestore was not most men. He cataloged details the way others breathed. The flicker of a guard's eyelid during a lie, the half-beat pause before a rival's smile, the way fear smelled like copper before it ever showed on a face. So when Sarah stepped through the doorway carrying his breakfast tray, he noticed immediately her left sleeve hung wrong. Not loose, deliberately pinned, the black sling bulging beneath white fabric like a secret she carried in her bones. "Good morning, sir," she said, voice low, the same volume she had used every day for 4 months. "Morning, Sarah." He watched her cross the checkered floor, movements precise but one-handed, the metal whisk still clutched in her right like a talisman. She set the tray down with care, and that was when it happened. The sleeve rode higher. The sling flashed. The whisk paused mid-air. Swollen knuckles. A clean fracture line beneath the fabric. And on her forehead, a thin red cut, crusted but fresh, catching the chandelier light like a warning. She yanked the sleeve down, but too late. "Sarah," he said, voice calm, closing the ledger. "Sit. I have to finish the sauce. Sit." It was not loud. Nestore never raised his voice. But the words settled between them like a blade. She lowered herself onto the edge of a side chair, whisk still in her grip, knuckles white. "What happened to your wrist?" "Nothing." Knife slipped. Her laugh cracked. "I'm clumsy in the morning." Nestore studied her. Sarah was 30. He knew from her file. Olive skin, dark hair in a high topknot, brown eyes that rarely lifted. She arrived before dawn, left after midnight, and never complained. Ms. Harrow had called her invisible perfection. But perfection did not come with black slings and forehead gashes. "Both hands?" he asked, noting how she cradled the injured arm. Her breath hitched. "Yes. Very clumsy." "Show me." Her fingers trembled as she eased back the sleeve. The sling parted. The wrist beneath was purple, swollen, the break clean and deliberate. Someone had twisted until bone gave way. Nestore felt the cold settle in his gut. The same chill that came before a deal went bloody. He had built an empire on fear and favor. He had buried men for less. But he had one rule carved into his marrow: you do not break what cannot break you back. Someone had shattered that rule in his kitchen. Who did this? Nobody. "I told you." "Sarah." He leaned forward, elbows on the console, tattoos shifting beneath his open collar. "You cook under my roof. That makes you mine to protect. Do you understand?" Her lips parted. For a heartbeat, he thought she might speak the name. Then the fear won. She stood so fast the whisk clattered to the marble. "I have to check the oven." She fled through the doorway, topknot bobbing, sling swinging. Nestore stared at the abandoned whisk, silver wires glinting under the chandelier. He pulled out his phone. Text to Ms. Harrow, Cook Sarah. Full file. Now. The sauce burned in the kitchen. And somewhere in the city, a prosecutor named Victor Kane had just signed his own warrant. Nestore did not move for a long minute. The hallway was silent except for the faint clatter of pans from the kitchen and the soft tick of the grandfather clock at the far end. He bent and picked up the whisk. The handle was still warm from her grip. He turned it slowly, watching the light fracture across the wires. It was a simple tool, stainless steel, nothing special. Yet it had become a witness. He set it on the console beside the ledger. The numbers on the page blurred. Shipments could wait. The city could wait. This could not. He walked to the kitchen doorway and stopped just outside the frame. Sarah stood at the stove, back to him, stirring with her good hand. The sauce hissed. She did not turn. He could see the tension in her shoulders, the way her injured arm hung useless at her side. The sling had slipped lower, revealing the edge of a bruise that climbed toward her elbow. He stepped inside. The heat from the stove hit him first, then the smell of garlic and burnt butter. Sarah stiffened but kept stirring. "You don't have to talk," he said quietly. "Not yet." She did not answer. "I'll find out either way." The spoon scraped the pan. Once. Twice. He left her there and returned to the hallway. The whisk waited. He picked it up again and carried it to the side table beneath the gold lamp. He placed it upright, handle down, like a monument. His phone buzzed. Ms. Harrow. Incoming call. He answered without greeting. Talk. Sarah Delgado. 30. Hired 4 months ago through the agency. Clean record. Lives in the staff wing. East Corridor. No family in the city. Ex-husband listed as Victor Kane, Assistant District Attorney. Divorce finalized 18 months ago. 3 police reports filed during marriage, all withdrawn. 1 ER visit, wrist sprain, listed as accidental fall. Nestore's jaw tightened. Send everything. Photos. Medical. Reports. Now. Already compiling. 10 minutes. He ended the call. The chandelier above him flickered once. A brief stutter of light. He looked up. The crystals trembled, though there was no draft. He looked back at the whisk. It stood steady. He walked to the window at the end of the hallway. The city sprawled below, still half asleep, streetlights glowing like dying embers. Somewhere out there, Victor Kane was waking up to another day of power. Another day of believing he was untouchable. Nestore's reflection stared back at him in the glass. Dark suit. Open collar. Tattoos climbing his neck like vines. Eyes that had seen too much and still saw everything. He turned away from the window and walked back to the console. He opened the ledger again, but the numbers meant nothing now. He closed it. He picked up the whisk one last time and carried it to the kitchen doorway. Sarah was plating eggs, movement slow, deliberate. She did not look up. He set the whisk on the counter beside her. She flinched. "It's yours," he said. "When you're ready." Then he left. Back in the hallway, he stood beneath the chandelier and waited. The house was waking. Footsteps echoed from the upper floors. Guards changing shifts. The day beginning. But in this hallway, time had stopped at 5:52 a.m. He pulled out his phone again and typed a second message, this one to his security chief. Plant eyes on Victor Kane. Office. Home. Car. Everywhere. Start now. He hit send. The chandelier steadied. The light held. Sarah appeared in the doorway, tray in her good hand. She had removed the apron. The sling was adjusted, tighter now, but the cut on her forehead stood out stark against her skin. She met his eyes for the first time. "I'm sorry about the whisk," she said. "Keep it." She nodded once and walked past him, careful not to brush his arm. Her footsteps faded down the hall. Nestore stood alone beneath the chandelier. The gold lamp cast a warm pool of light on the console. The ledger waited. The whisk was gone. He looked at the empty space where it had been. Then he walked to the front door and opened it. The morning air was cool, sharp. The city stretched before him, oblivious. He stepped outside and closed the door behind him. The hunt had begun. 2 hours later, Ms. Harrow slipped into the study adjacent to the hallway, tablet in hand. The room was a vault of shadows and silence, lit only by a single green banker's lamp on the mahogany desk. Nestore sat motionless in the leather chair, elbows on the armrests, fingers steepled beneath his chin. The chandelier's glow from the hallway bled faintly through the open doorway, painting a thin stripe of gold across the Persian rug. He had not moved since closing the front door. The city outside had gone quiet, but inside his head, the gears turned. Ms. Harrow placed the tablet on the desk without a word. The screen woke, casting a cold blue light across Nestore's face. He did not look at her. His eyes stayed on the doorway, as if Sarah might still appear there, whisk in hand. "Everything," he said. She tapped once. The file opened. Sarah Delgado, 30. Hired 4 months ago through the agency. Clean record. Lives in the staff wing, East Corridor, Room 2B. No family in the city. Ex-husband listed as Victor Kane, Assistant District Attorney. Divorce finalized 18 months ago. 3 police reports filed during marriage, all withdrawn. 1 ER visit, wrist sprain, listed as accidental fall. Nestore's fingers tightened on the armrests. The leather creaked. Photos, he said. Ms. Harrow swiped. A hospital intake form. A grainy security still from the ER hallway. Sarah, younger, eyes swollen, arm in a soft cast. Another image. A police report, redacted but not enough. Finger-shaped bruises on both upper arms. A note in the margin. Victim declined to press charges. He leaned forward. The lamp caught the edge of his tattoos, turning the ink into living shadows. Victor Kane, he said. The name tasted like rust. Ms. Harrow nodded. Running for mayor. Clean public image. Private donors. Ties to developers. Leo Grant's name appears in 3 wire transfers. Nothing direct. Yet. Nestore's gaze flicked to her. Yet. She swiped again. A campaign photo. Victor Kane, mid-30s, sharp suit, sharper smile. Blonde hair, blue eyes, the kind of face that won votes and broke jaws in the same breath. Beside him, Sarah in the background of an old charity gala, arm linked through his, smile brittle. Nestore stared at the image until it burned. Then he looked away. Anything else? Neighbors heard shouting. Twice. No calls made. 1 domestic disturbance logged. Officer dispatched. No arrest. Kane's badge got him out of it. Nestore stood. The chair rolled back silently. He walked to the window. The city was a grid of black and gold, streetlights flickering like dying stars. Somewhere in that grid, Victor Kane slept beside a woman who was not Sarah, believing his secrets were safe. He touched what's mine, Nestore said to the glass. He dies in the light. Ms. Harrow did not flinch. She had heard worse. She closed the tablet. Orders. Eyes on him. Every breath. Every call. Every dollar. I want his life in pieces before sunrise tomorrow. Already in motion. Teams rolling out now. He turned. The lamp carved hollows beneath his cheekbones. Sarah. Sleeping. Or trying. Guard posted outside her door. She hasn't left her room since dinner. Nestore nodded once. Ms. Harrow left as silently as she had come. The door clicked shut. He stood alone in the dark. In the staff wing, East Corridor, Room 2B, Sarah sat on the edge of her narrow bed. The overhead light was off. The only illumination came from the sliver of hallway glow beneath the door and the faint red numbers on the alarm clock, 2:17 a.m. She stared at the mirror across the room. The sling was a black slash against her white nightshirt. She lifted her good hand and touched the cut on her forehead. It stung. The skin around it was tight, swollen. She remembered the impact. The countertop edge. Victor's voice, low and furious. You think you can leave me? She had not left. Not really. She had run. 4 months ago, she had run here. To this house. To this job. To the illusion of safety. The mirror showed a woman she barely recognized. Hair loose now, falling in dark waves over her shoulders. Eyes too wide. Mouth too small. A stranger wearing her face. She stood and walked to the window. The grounds were dark, but she could see the silhouette of the guard near the gate. Another shadow moved along the hedge. Nestore's men. She had noticed them before, but never like this. Never so close. She pressed her forehead to the cool glass. Her breath fogged it. Footsteps in the hallway. Soft. Measured. Not the guard's heavy tread. She froze. The footsteps stopped outside her door. A pause. Then they moved on. She exhaled. Shaky. Her reflection stared back, distorted by the fog. She wiped it clear with her sleeve. Back at the bed, she sat again. The sling felt heavier now, as if it carried the weight of every lie she had told. Knife slipped. Clumsy. Dropped a pan. She had practiced them in the mirror for weeks. They sounded true if you said them fast enough. She lay down, fully clothed, shoes still on. The ceiling was white and blank. She counted the cracks in the plaster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sleep would not come. In the study, Nestore opened a drawer and removed a small black notebook. Leather-bound, edges worn. He flipped to a blank page and wrote in precise, slanted script. Victor Kane prosecutor mayoral candidate Sarah's X3 assaults 1 ER 58K. He underlined the last line twice. He closed the notebook and returned it to the drawer. Then he opened the tablet again. Ms. Harrow had sent a new file. Audio. He pressed play. A recording from a neighbor's Ring camera, time-stamped 3 months ago. Muffled shouting. A woman's voice, pleading. A man's, cold and cutting. Then a crash. Silence. Nestore's jaw clenched. He stopped the recording. He stood and walked to the bookshelf. Behind a row of first editions, he pressed a panel. It slid open, revealing a small safe. He entered the code. Inside, a burner phone, a flash drive, a photograph. He took the photograph. Sarah, smiling, younger, standing beside Victor at a fundraiser. Her hand on his arm, his hand on her waist. Possessive. He stared at it for a long time. Then he returned it to the safe and closed the panel. He walked to the doorway and looked into the hallway. The chandelier was off now, but the gold lamp still burned. The console table was empty. The whisk was gone. He stepped into the hallway and stood beneath the chandelier's dark crystals. The house was asleep, but he was not. He could feel the pulse of it. The guards. The cameras. The city beyond. He walked to the kitchen. The stove was cold. The saucepan sat in the sink, crusted and black. He opened the refrigerator. A single plate, covered in foil. Eggs. Toast. A sprig of parsley. Sarah's work. He closed the door. He opened a drawer and found a clean whisk. He held it, then set it down. He left the kitchen and walked the length of the hallway to the staff wing. The guard outside Sarah's door straightened as he approached. Sir. Anything. She hasn't come out. Light's been off since midnight. Nestore nodded. He stood outside the door for a moment, listening. No sound. No movement. He turned and walked away. Back in the study, he sat at the desk and opened the tablet again. A new message from Ms. Harrow. Team in place. Kane's home. Office. Car. Live feed active. He typed back. Send me everything. No edits. He leaned back in the chair and closed his eyes. Not to sleep. To think. Victor Kane believed he was untouchable. A prosecutor. A candidate. A man with a smile for the cameras and a fist for the dark. Nestore opened his eyes. He would learn. The city would learn. And Sarah would never wear another sling. By 3:30 a.m., the first images arrived. Victor Kane leaving his downtown condo, coat collar up, phone to his ear, oblivious to the shadow tailing him 3 cars back. Nestore sat in the study, the tablet propped on the desk like a window into another life. The feed was crisp, night vision green. Victor's face filled the screen, mouth moving fast, eyes darting. He climbed into a black sedan. The tail car followed at a distance. Nestore watched until the sedan disappeared into the city's veins. Then he opened a second window on the tablet. A live map. 3 red dots pulsed. Victor's condo, his office at the courthouse, his car. A 4th dot appeared as the sedan moved. The net was tightening. He stood and walked to the safe again. This time he removed the burner phone. He dialed a number from memory. Status, he said. A voice, low and clipped. Team Alpha in position at the courthouse. Beta at the condo. Gamma on the car. Drones up. We're dark. Timeline. Office sweep at 0400. Condo at 0430. Car plant at 0500. Clean entry, no trace. Execute. He ended the call. The study was silent again. He returned to the desk and opened a third window. A secure channel. A technician's face appeared, young, eyes sharp behind glasses. "Feed me," Nestore said. The technician nodded. The screen split. 4 angles. 1. The courthouse parking garage. Empty. 2. Victor's office door. 3rd floor. 3. The condo hallway, carpeted, dim. 4. The sedan's undercarriage, a gloved hand attaching a tracker. Nestore watched every second. At 4:02 a.m., Team Alpha breached the courthouse. 2 figures in black, faces masked, moved like ghosts through the service corridors. They disabled the alarm with a magnet and a code. The office door opened with a soft click. Inside, the room was sterile. Desk. Filing cabinets. A photo of Victor shaking hands with the mayor. They planted 3 cameras. 1 in the smoke detector, 1 behind the framed law degree, 1 under the desk. A microphone in the phone base. They were out in 4 minutes. At 4:31 a.m., Team Beta entered the condo. The lock yielded to a pick. The apartment was all glass and steel, cold. They moved through the living room, the bedroom, the study. Cameras in the chandelier, the air vent, the bedside lamp. A tracker in the lining of Victor's briefcase. They left a single hair on the bathroom counter, a calling card no one would notice. At 5:01 a.m., Team Gamma slid beneath the sedan in a parking garage. The tracker went under the chassis. A second device, smaller, inside the spare tire well. They were gone before the garage attendant finished his coffee. By 5:15 a.m., all feeds were live. Nestore watched from the study. The tablet now showed 9 windows. Victor's office. Empty. His condo. Empty. His car. Parked. Then a 10th window opened. Bank records. A shell company. 3 transfers. 20,000. 18,000. 20,000. Total. 58,000. From a developer linked to Leo Grant. He leaned closer. The numbers were clean. Too clean. He opened the audio feed from the condo. Silence. Then a rustle. Victor's voice, muffled, on a call. "Told you to handle it. No, not like that. Clean. I want it gone by morning." A pause. "I don't care what she said. Pay her. Or make her disappear." Nestore's blood went cold. He saved the clip. At 6:47 p.m., the mansion stirred for dinner. Sarah moved through the kitchen with the precision of a dancer, one-handed but unbroken. The sling was tighter now, the cut on her forehead scabbed. She had not slept. The mirror had lied. She looked like a ghost. She plated the main course, seared duck, glazed carrots, wild rice. The staff dining room would eat first. Then Nestore. She carried the tray to the doorway and paused. Above the frame, a new camera. Small. Black. Unblinking. She stared at it. Her reflection stared back, distorted in the lens. She walked through. In the staff dining room, the guards ate in silence. She set the tray down. One of them, a woman with a scar across her cheek, nodded. "Good work, Sarah." She managed a smile. It felt like glass. Back in the kitchen, she started on Nestore's plate. The duck was perfect. The sauce reduced to a glossy sheen. She arranged the garnish with her good hand. Then she carried it to the hallway. Nestore was not there. She set the plate on the console beneath the gold lamp. The whisk was gone. In its place, a single white rose. She stared at it. Footsteps behind her. She turned. Nestore stood in the study doorway, tablet in hand. "Dinner's ready," she said. He nodded. "Eat with me." She hesitated. "I'm staff. Tonight you're not." He walked past her to the dining room. She followed. The table was set for 1. He pulled out a second chair. She sat. He served her first. Then himself. They ate in silence. The duck was perfect. The sauce rich. The rice fragrant. Halfway through he spoke. "You saw the camera." She froze. I see everything, he said. That's how I keep my people safe. She set down her fork. Who is he? He asked. She looked at her plate. Victor Kane, she whispered. The name hung between them. Nestore nodded once. He won't touch you again. She looked up. His eyes were steady. How? Trust me. She wanted to. God, she wanted to. But trust was a luxury she had buried with her wedding ring. Across the city, Victor Kane paced his condo. The curtains were drawn. The lights low. He poured a drink. Then another. He had felt it all day. Eyes. Everywhere. The courthouse. The garage. The street. He had ditched his tail twice. Or thought he had. He opened his phone. A text from Leo Grant. Problem. Call me. He dialed. What? We're burned. Someone's in the accounts. The girl. She talked. Victor's grip tightened. Find her. Already looking. She's at Megginson's place. You know who that is. Victor went still. Megginson. Yeah. You sure you want to poke that bear? Victor ended the call. He walked to the window and pulled back the curtain. The city stared back. Indifferent. He let the curtain fall. In the mansion, dinner ended. Sarah cleared the plates. Nestore watched her move. The sling was looser now. The cut healing. She paused at the doorway. Thank you, she said. For what? For seeing. He nodded. She left. He returned to the study. The tablet waited. New footage. Victor in his condo, pacing, drinking, on the phone. Nestore opened the audio feed. Megginson's place. Get me eyes inside. A pause. No. I'll handle it. Nestore smiled. Small. Cold. He opened a new file. Photos. Victor meeting Leo Grant in a parking garage. 3 times. Handshakes. Envelopes. He saved them. Then he opened the bank records again. The 58,000. The shell company. The developer. He leaned back. The net was not just tightening. It was closing. Sarah stood in the kitchen, washing the last plate. The new camera watched from above. She did not flinch. She dried her hands and walked to her room. The guard nodded as she passed. Inside, she locked the door. She sat on the bed and opened her hand. The white rose. She held it to her nose. It smelled like rain. She set it on the nightstand. Then she lay down, shoes off this time. The ceiling cracks were still there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But tonight, they looked like roads, leading somewhere else. At 11:47 p.m., Sarah stood in the kitchen doorway, bowl of batter in her good hand, and heard voices from the study. Nestore's low murmur. Ms. Harrow's clipped reply. Words she was not meant to hear. The house was quiet, the staff long asleep, the guards on silent rotation. Only the kitchen light burned, a single bulb above the stove, casting long shadows across the steel counters. She had come for cocoa, a habit from childhood. Warm milk, a pinch of cinnamon, the ritual that calmed the static in her head. The batter was for tomorrow's breakfast, a lemon ricotta cake Nestore favored. She stirred with her right hand, the sling snug against her chest, the cut on her forehead a dull throb under the scab. The study door stood ajar. A sliver of green light spilled into the hallway, the banker's lamp still on. She should have walked past, should have kept stirring, but the voices pulled her. She stepped closer, bowl cradled against her hip. Nestore spoke first. 3 other cooks. Same injuries. We dropped the hammer Thursday, 7 a.m. Every channel. A pause. Ms. Harrow's voice, cool and precise. Bank records locked. Photos with Grant. Audio of the threat. Deputies ready to flip. We leaked to Channel 5, the Tribune, and the feds. All at once. No recovery. Sarah's breath caught. The bowl slipped. Ceramic met marble with a sharp crack. Batter splattered across the checkered floor, white streaks like scars. Footsteps. Fast. Nestore appeared in the doorway, shirt sleeves rolled, tattoos stark under the chandelier. Ms. Harrow behind him, tablet glowing. Sarah stood frozen, shards at her feet, batter on her shoes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean." Nestore's eyes flicked to the mess, then to her face. He stepped over the broken bowl and took her elbow, gentle but firm. "Come." He led her into the study. Ms. Harrow closed the door. The room smelled of leather and ink. The tablet lay open on the desk, a grid of files, bank statements, photos, audio waveforms. Sarah stared at the screen. Victor's face. Her face. Bruises. Dates. Dollars. "You heard," Nestore said. Not a question. She nodded. He released her arm. "Sit." She sat in the leather chair. The same one from that morning. It swallowed her. Ms. Harrow stood by the window, arms crossed. Nestore leaned against the desk, hands braced on either side. "Speak." Sarah's voice cracked. "He'll kill me." Nestore's gaze did not waver. "He already did," he said. "Now the city buries him." She looked at the tablet. A photo, Victor in a parking garage, envelope in hand. Another, a woman, not her, wrist in a brace, eyes down. A third, a cook from a downtown bistro, arm in a sling, standing outside a shelter. 3 others, she whispered. 4, counting you, Ms. Harrow said. All cooks. All under his roof at some point. All silenced. Sarah's hands trembled. The sling felt like iron. "You're going to destroy him," she said. "Publicly," Nestore replied. "No blood. No shadows. Just light." She looked up. "He'll know it was me." "He'll suspect," Ms. Harrow said. "But he'll have nothing. Your name stays out. We have proxies. Leaks. A deputy with a conscience and a plea deal. By Thursday, Victor Kane will be a headline, not a threat." Sarah's breath hitched. "And after?" Nestore pushed off the desk. He walked to the bookshelf and opened the panel. The safe. He removed the photograph from that morning. Sarah and Victor at the gala. He held it out. "This ends." She took it. Her fingers shook. The smile in the photo was a lie. She tore it in half. Then again. The pieces fluttered to the rug. "I'll testify," she said. "Anonymously. Whatever you need." Nestore nodded once. Ms. Harrow tapped the tablet. "We'll route through a victim advocate. Voice distortion. No face. You'll be Jane Doe." Sarah looked at the scattered pieces of the photograph. Victor's half-smile stared up at her. "How do you know he won't come here?" Nestore's voice was steel. "He already tried. Last night. Turned away at the gate. He's watching. We're watching harder." Sarah closed her eyes. The room smelled of cocoa she never made. She opened them. "What do you need from me?" "Your story," Ms. Harrow said. "The truth. Dates. Details. The ER visit. The threats. We'll do the rest." Sarah nodded. "I can do that." Nestore walked to the window. The city glittered. Indifferent. "Thursday," he said. 7 a.m. The world wakes up to Victor Kane's fall. You wake up free. Sarah stood. The sling shifted. She felt lighter, as if the break in her wrist had finally set. "I should clean the kitchen," she said. "Leave it," Nestore replied. "Guards will handle it." She walked to the door. Paused. "Thank you," she said. He did not answer. Did not need to. She left. In the hallway, the chandelier was off. The gold lamp burned low. The console table held a new object, a small recorder, black, no larger than a matchbox. Ms. Harrow's doing. Sarah stared at it. She picked it up. The weight was nothing. The power, everything. She slipped it into her pocket. Back in the kitchen, the batter had dried into white crusts on the marble. She knelt, ignoring the ache in her wrist, and gathered the shards. One by one. Into the trash. She wiped the floor with a damp cloth. The checkered pattern emerged clean. She stood and looked at the camera above the doorway. It stared back, unblinking. She raised the recorder. Pressed record. "My name is Jane Doe," she said. "This is what he did." She spoke for 20 minutes. The gala. The first slap. The night he broke her wrist. The ER. The lies. The fear. She stopped the recorder. She walked to her room. The guard nodded. She nodded back. Inside, she placed the recorder on the nightstand beside the white rose. The petals had begun to brown at the edges. She lay down. The ceiling cracks were still there, but now they looked like lightning. In the study, Nestore and Ms. Harrow worked in silence. The tablet glowed. A timeline. Tuesday, deputy meets feds. Plea deal signed. Wednesday, leaks to Channel 5, Tribune, Watchdog blog. Thursday, 7 a.m., live press conference. FBI raid. Suspension. Ms. Harrow typed. Nestore watched the feeds. Victor's condo. Empty. His office. Dark. His car. Parked. A new window opened. Audio from the kitchen. Sarah's voice, steady and clear. Nestore listened to every word. When it ended, he closed the file. "She's ready," Ms. Harrow said. "She always was," he replied. He stood and walked to the hallway. The gold lamp cast a warm circle on the console. The recorder was gone. In its place, a single lemon. He picked it up. The skin was smooth, fragrant. He carried it to the kitchen. Sarah was gone. The floor gleamed. The counters shone. A new bowl sat on the island, batter already mixed. A note in her neat script. "Lemon ricotta cake. For tomorrow. Thank you." He set the lemon beside the bowl. He left the kitchen and walked the length of the hallway to the front door. He opened it. The night air was cool, sharp with coming rain. He stepped outside and closed the door. The city slept. But not for long. Tuesday dawned gray and heavy, the first leak hitting the Tribune's website at 6:03 a.m. Prosecutor Victor Kane linked to 58,000 in suspected bribes. The headline sat alone on the homepage, bold black letters against a white background. No photo. No comment. Just the promise of more. Nestore stood in the study, tablet in hand, watching the counter tick upward. Views. Shares. Comments. The city woke to the scent of blood in the water. By 6:17 a.m., Channel 5 had a breaking news banner. By 6:29, the deputy's name appeared in a follow-up post. Assistant DA Marcus Reed to cooperate with federal investigation. A grainy photo of Reed leaving the courthouse, coat over his head, flashed across screens. Nestore closed the tablet. He walked to the kitchen. Sarah was already there, apron on, sling gone. Her left wrist was wrapped in a soft brace, skin pale but unbruised. She stood at the island, slicing strawberries with careful precision. The knife moved steady. No tremor. He paused in the doorway. "You're early," he said. "Couldn't sleep," she replied without looking up. "Figured I'd start breakfast." He watched her work. The brace was new, medical grade, ordered overnight. Ms. Harrow's efficiency. "The news," he said. "I saw." She set the knife down. "It's real. It's just the beginning." She nodded, turned to the stove. Eggs cracked one-handed. Butter melted. The scent filled the room. He left her to it. At 8:12 a.m., Leo Grant was arrested outside his gym. Plainclothes feds. No sirens. He was cuffed in sweatpants, phone still in hand. The video hit social media by 8:15. Kane Exposed trended within minutes. Nestore watched from the study. The feeds multiplied. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. A montage of Victor's campaign ads cut with Grant's arrest. A voiceover. The fixer falls. Who's next? Ms. Harrow entered without knocking. "Deputies in protective custody," she said. Signed the deal at 7:45. Full confession. Bribes. Case fixing. 3 assaults covered up. He named Kane on tape. Nestore nodded. The women. 2 came forward. Anonymously. Statements match Sarah's. Third still silent. Keep pressing. Already on it. She left. Victor Kane sat in his office, blinds drawn, television muted. The screen cycled through the same footage. Grant in cuffs. Reed's photo. The Tribune headline. His phone buzzed non-stop. Calls. Texts. Emails. He ignored them all. He opened a drawer and removed a bottle. Whiskey. He poured 2 fingers. Drank it in one. His assistant knocked. He did not answer. He stood and walked to the window. The courthouse plaza was empty, but he could feel the eyes. Reporters. Feds. The public. All waiting. He pulled out his phone. Dialed Sarah's old number. Disconnected. He stared at the screen. Then he grabbed his keys. At 2:47 p.m., Victor's sedan rolled up to the mansion gate. The guard, stone-faced, stepped out. Name. Victor Kane. I'm here to see Sarah Delgado. No visitors. It's urgent. Turn around. Victor's hands tightened on the wheel. Tell Megginson I know. The guard did not blink. Turn around. Victor reversed. Tires squealed. He sped away. The guard radioed it in. Nestore received the report in the study. He smiled. Small. Cold. Wednesday arrived with rain. The leaks kept coming. 9:03 a.m. Audio clip. Victor's voice, threatening a witness. Pay her or make her disappear. Released by an anonymous account. Verified by Channel 5. 10:21 a.m. Photos. Victor and Grant in a diner booth. Envelope on the table. Time-stamped. 11:47 a.m. A 4th woman. A line cook from a riverfront bistro. Wrist broken. Police report buried. She spoke to a reporter off record. He said he'd ruin me if I talked. Kane Exposed hit 1 million posts. Victor's campaign suspended all events. His mentor, the mayor, issued a statement. Shocked and saddened. Full cooperation with authorities. Victor did not leave his condo. The blinds stayed closed. The whiskey bottle emptied. In the mansion kitchen, Sarah watched it all on the small television above the stove. The sling was gone. The brace was light. She moved freely now, chopping, stirring, plating. The staff ate in silence, eyes on their phones. She served Nestore's lunch at noon. Grilled salmon, quinoa, asparagus. He ate in the dining room, tablet beside his plate. She stood by the doorway. It's working, she said. It's cracking, he replied. Tomorrow it shatters. She nodded. I'm ready. He looked at her. You don't have to be. I want to be. He set down his fork. Then you will be. She left. At 3:14 p.m., the FBI raided the courthouse. Agents in windbreakers. Boxes of files. Computers seized. Victor's office sealed. The footage aired live. Nestore watched from the study. Ms. Harrow stood beside him. Suspension pending investigation, she said. Effective immediately. Good. Press conference at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Attorney General. Live on every channel. Nestore nodded. He walked to the kitchen. Sarah was cleaning. The counters gleamed. The television showed the raid on loop. She turned it off. Tomorrow, she said. Tomorrow, he agreed. She opened a drawer and removed the recorder. She held it out. Everything's on here. Dates. Times. What he said. What he did. He took it. You did good. She smiled. Small. Real. He left. That night, the mansion was quiet. The rain had stopped. The city held its breath. Sarah stood in her room, brace off for the first time. She flexed her wrist. It hurt, but it moved. She walked to the window. The grounds were dark. The guards invisible. But she knew they were there. She opened the closet and removed a small box. Inside, her wedding ring. She had kept it. Evidence. Memory. Burden. She carried it to the kitchen. The stove was cold. She opened the burner. Lit it. Blue flame. She held the ring over the fire. Gold melted. Diamonds cracked. She dropped it into the sink. It hissed. She turned off the flame. She walked back to her room. The white rose on the nightstand had dried. She touched a petal. It crumbled. She lay down. The ceiling cracks were still there, but now they looked like wings. In the study, Nestore prepared the final pieces. The audio, the photos, the statements, the deputy's confession. All timed, all synced. Ms. Harrow entered. "Everything's set," she said. 7 a.m. sharp. He nodded. She hesitated. "He'll come for her. He already tried. She'll be safe. Safer than he is." Ms. Harrow left. Nestore walked to the hallway. The gold lamp burned low. The console held the lemon from yesterday. He picked it up, rolled it in his palm. He carried it to the kitchen. Sarah was gone. The counters clean. A new cake cooled on the rack. Lemon ricotta. A note. "For tomorrow. We earned it." He set the lemon beside it. He left the kitchen and walked to the front door. He opened it. The night air was cool, clean. He stepped outside and closed the door. The city waited. Tomorrow it would wake up different. Thursday, 6:59 a.m. The mansion was silent. The television in the kitchen flickered to life. Every channel. The same countdown. A red banner pulsed across the bottom of the screen. Live special report. Sarah stood at the island, both hands on the whisk, eggs spinning in a steel bowl. The brace was gone. Her wrist moved slow but sure. The cut on her forehead had faded to a thin pink line. Nestore stepped onto the balcony. The city sprawled beneath him, still half dark, streetlights blinking out one by one. Behind him, the chandelier glowed through the open glass doors, crystals catching the first pale light. He wore the same white shirt, sleeves rolled, tattoos sharp against his skin. The tablet rested on the railing, screen split into 4 feeds. Channel 5, Tribune Live Blog, FBI Command Channel, Courthouse Security. 6 hours, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds. The Attorney General appeared on every screen. A woman in a navy suit, face grim. Behind her, the seal of the state. Cameras flashed. "Good morning," she began. "At this time, I am announcing the immediate suspension of Assistant District Attorney Victor Kane, pending a full federal investigation into allegations of bribery, obstruction of justice, and serial domestic assault." The balcony doors framed Nestore like a portrait. He did not move. In the kitchen, Sarah's whisk paused. The eggs settled. She stared at the screen. The Attorney General continued. "Evidence obtained through lawful channels reveals Mr. Kane accepted $58,000 in bribes from developer interests linked to known fixer Leo Grant, arrested yesterday. These funds were used to influence case outcomes, including the dismissal of felony charges against Grant's associates." A photo flashed. Victor and Grant, diner booth, envelope. Sarah's breath hitched. Additionally, the Attorney General said, multiple credible reports detail a pattern of physical abuse against women under Mr. Kane's authority or in his personal life. 4 victims have come forward. Their statements are corroborated by medical records, audio evidence, and witness testimony. Another photo, Sarah's ER intake form, redacted but unmistakable. Sarah set the whisk down. Her hands did not shake. On the balcony, Nestore watched the courthouse feed. Black SUVs rolled into the plaza. Agents poured out. Windbreakers. Rifles. The raid was live. Channel 5 cut to a reporter outside the courthouse. "We're seeing FBI agents entering the building now. Sources confirm they are executing search warrants on Victor Kane's office and personal files." The Tribune blog updated every 10 seconds. Kane Exposed topped 2 million posts. Nestore's tablet pinged. "Ms. Harrow. Deputy's confession airing now. Full tape." He opened the file. Reed's voice, shaky but clear. "Victor told me to bury the reports. Said the women were lying. Paid me to lose evidence. I have the bank records. The texts. Everything. The Attorney General returned. Effective immediately, Victor Kane is suspended without pay. All cases under his purview are reassigned. The FBI will continue its investigation. We will not tolerate corruption or violence in our justice system. The feed cut to the courthouse steps. Victor appeared, flanked by agents, coat over his head. No cuffs. Yet. Reporters shouted. Cameras flashed. He stumbled. Sarah watched from the kitchen doorway. The bowl of eggs sat forgotten. She walked to the hallway. The chandelier burned bright. The console table held the lemon ricotta cake, uncut. A single plate. A fork. She picked up the fork. Then set it down. On the balcony, Nestore closed the tablet. The city was fully awake now. Sirens echoed in the distance. The raid continued. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You did this. He deleted it. Victor sat in the back of an unmarked sedan, hands cuffed behind him. The agent said nothing. The driver took corners fast. The courthouse shrank in the rear window. His phone was gone. His badge. His future. He stared at the floor. The carpet was gray. Stained. He thought of Sarah. The sling. The cut. The way she had looked at him the last time. Not afraid. Defiant. He closed his eyes. In the mansion, Sarah returned to the kitchen. She picked up the whisk. Both hands. She finished the eggs. Added salt. Pepper. A pinch of chives. She plated them. Toast. Butter. A slice of cake on the side. She carried the tray to the balcony. Nestore turned as she approached. The chandelier framed him, crystals glittering like ice. Breakfast, she said. He took the tray. Set it on the railing. They ate in silence. The eggs were perfect. The cake moist. The coffee strong. Below, the city churned. News vans. Helicopters. Social media on fire. Sarah spoke first. It's over. It's begun, Nestore replied. She looked at him. He'll come for me. He already tried. He failed. She nodded. The women. The others. They're safe. New names. New cities. My people handled it. She set her fork down. I want to see him fall. You will. She stood. I should clean up. Leave it. She walked back inside. The hallway was warm. The chandelier steady. She paused at the console. The cake was half-eaten. She cut a second slice. Placed it on a small plate. She carried it to her room. Nestore remained on the balcony. The tablet pinged again. Ms. Harrow. Kane in custody. Interrogation starting. Press conference at noon. He typed back. Keep me posted. He looked at the city. The courthouse was a hive. The mayor's office silent. The campaign headquarters dark. He picked up the fork. Took another bite of cake. Lemon. Ricotta. A hint of vanilla. He set the fork down. He walked inside. The chandelier cast long shadows. The console held the empty tray. He carried it to the kitchen. Sarah was gone. The counters clean. A new note on the island. Thank you. For everything. He set the tray in the sink. He walked to the study. The tablet waited. The feeds continued. Victor's mugshot. The Attorney General's statement on loop. The women's silhouettes, voices distorted, telling their stories. He closed the tablet. He opened the safe. Removed the torn photograph. The pieces fit together now. Sarah smiling. Victor possessive. He placed it on the desk. Then he opened a drawer and removed a new file. Blank. He wrote on the cover in black ink. Case closed. He closed the drawer. Sarah stood in her room. The white rose was dust now. She swept it into the trash. The recorder sat on the nightstand, empty. She had deleted the file after Nestore copied it. She opened the closet. A small duffel waited. Packed. Ready. She did not need it yet. She walked to the window. The grounds were quiet. The guards invisible. She flexed her wrist. No pain. She smiled. At 11:57 a.m., the Attorney General held a second press conference. Victor Kane, in an orange jumpsuit, was led into frame. No coat. No smile. The charges were read: bribery, obstruction, for counts of assault, stalking. The city watched. Nestore watched from the study. Sarah watched from the kitchen. The staff watched from their rooms. The Attorney General spoke. Justice is blind, but it is not deaf. Today we listen. The feed cut to commercial. Nestore closed the tablet. He walked to the balcony. The chandelier glowed behind him. The city was loud now. Sirens. Shouts. Cameras. He looked at the empty tray. The fork. The crumbs. He picked up the plate. Carried it inside. He set it in the sink. He opened the refrigerator. Took out a bottle of water. Drank. He walked to the hallway. The chandelier was off. The gold lamp burned low. He stood beneath it. The console held a new object. A single white rose. Fresh. He picked it up. Smelled it. He carried it to the kitchen. Sarah was there. Apron off. Hair loose. She looked up. For you, he said. She took it. Thank you, she said. He nodded. She placed the rose in a vase. Centered it on the island. She looked at him. What now? Now, he said. You live. She smiled. Real. Wide. He left. The city did not sleep that night. The news replayed. The hashtag grew. The women spoke. The deputy testified. Leo Grant lawyered up. Victor Kane sat in a cell. No bail. No visitors. No hope. Nestore stood on the balcony at midnight. The chandelier dark. The city bright. He looked at the stars. Few. Faint. He closed the doors. He walked to the study. The tablet was off. The safe closed. The file marked. He sat in the leather chair. He closed his eyes. The storm had passed. The city was changed. Sarah was free. Friday, 6:42 p.m. The mansion gates were locked. The guards doubled. A single text arrived on Nestore's phone. She's at the old address. He's coming. He read it once, deleted it, and set the phone face down on the study desk. The room was dim, the banker's lamp off. Only the glow from the hallway chandelier seeped through the open door, painting a thin gold stripe across the rug. Ms. Harrow stood by the window, tablet in hand. The screen showed the mansion's perimeter. Infrared cameras, motion sensors, guard positions. All green. He's desperate, she said. He's stupid, Nestore replied. He walked to the safe, opened it, and removed a small black device the size of a matchbox. A panic stud. He pressed it into his pocket. Sarah, he asked. Kitchen. Prepping tomorrow's menu. No brace. No sling. She's steady. Nestore nodded. He left the study and walked the hallway. The chandelier was off. The gold lamp burned low. The console held the white rose in its vase, petals still fresh. He paused, touched a petal, then continued to the kitchen. Sarah stood at the island, chopping shallots. Both hands moved in rhythm. The knife flashed. The scent of garlic and thyme filled the air. She looked up as he entered. Dinner's almost ready, she said. Eat with me. She hesitated, then nodded. She plated 2 dishes, roasted chicken, fingerling potatoes, haricots verts. She carried them to the small table by the window. They ate in silence. The food was perfect. Halfway through, Nestore's phone buzzed. A second text. Unknown number. She cooks at Megginson's. Ask him. He showed it to Sarah. Her fork paused. He thinks I'm still there, she said. You never were, Nestore replied. Not the way he believes. She set the fork down. He'll come. He already is. Across the city, Victor Kane sat in a rented sedan 2 blocks from the mansion. The engine idled. The text glowed on his burner phone. He had bought it that morning. Cash. No trace. He stared at the gates. Iron. High. Guards visible. He had watched them for an hour. Shift change at 7 p.m. A gap. 30 seconds. Maybe less. He pulled on a black cap. Gloves. He checked the glove box. A knife. A flashlight. A zip tie. He killed the engine. He walked. In the mansion, Sarah cleared the plates. Nestore stood by the window, watching the grounds. The sky was dark, clouds low. No moon. The alarm chirped once. Soft. A perimeter breach. Ms. Harrow's voice in his earpiece. East fence. One intruder. Moving fast. Nestore's hand went to the panic stud. He did not press it. Let him come, he said. Sarah froze at the sink. Water ran over her hands. He's here, she whispered. Stay in the hallway, Nestore said. Where the cameras see. She dried her hands and walked to the hallway. The chandelier was off. The gold lamp cast a warm pool on the console. She stood beneath it, center frame. She picked up the white rose. Held it. Victor scaled the fence at 7:03 p.m. The guards were changing. He landed soft in the hedge. He moved low, shadow to shadow. The mansion loomed, windows dark. He knew the layout. He had studied it. Blueprints. Satellite. Old habits. He reached the service entrance. The lock was simple. A pick. A twist. He was inside. The kitchen was empty. The counters clean. A single plate in the sink. He moved through. The hallway opened before him. The chandelier dark. The gold lamp glowing. Sarah stood beneath it. Rose in hand. He stopped. She turned. Their eyes met. Victor, she said. He stepped forward. You did this. You did, she replied. He moved closer. Where is he? Gone. He laughed. Bitter. Liar. He lunged. She pressed the panic stud hidden in the rose stem. Alarms blared. Red lights strobed. Doors locked. Guards converged. Nestore stepped from the study doorway, panic stud in hand. He had pressed it the moment Victor entered the kitchen. Victor spun. Knife out. Nestore raised both hands. Empty. You wanted me, he said. Here I am. Victor's eyes darted. Sarah. Nestore. The hallway. No exit. Guards poured in. 4. 6. Weapons drawn. Drop it, the lead guard said. Victor's grip tightened. Sarah stepped forward. It's over. He looked at her. The rose in her hand. The vase on the console. The chandelier above. He dropped the knife. The guards moved in. Zip ties. Cuffs. He did not resist. Nestore watched. Sarah watched. Victor was dragged past the gold lamp. Past the console. Past the rose. He did not look back. The mansion settled. The alarms silenced. The guards returned to posts. Ms. Harrow entered the hallway, tablet in hand. Feds en route, she said. Agents Dent and Corey. They'll take him. Nestore nodded. Sarah stood beneath the chandelier. The rose trembled in her hand. You knew, she said. I hoped, Nestore replied. He chose. She set the rose in the vase. Centered it. Ms. Harrow showed Nestore the tablet. Live feed. Victor in the back of a guard van. Head down. News drones are circling, she said. They'll have it by morning. Let them, Nestore said. Sarah walked to the kitchen. She opened the refrigerator. Took out the lemon ricotta cake. She cut 2 slices. Carried them to the hallway. She handed one to Nestore. They ate in silence. The cake was perfect. Later, the feds arrived. Agents Dent and Corey. Suits. Badges. Questions. Nestore answered. Sarah answered. The footage was handed over. The knife. The zip ties. The text messages. Victor was gone. The mansion was quiet. Sarah stood in her room. The duffel still packed. She opened it. Removed a sweater. A book. A photo of her mother. She unpacked. She walked to the kitchen. The counters gleamed. The vase held the rose. She opened a drawer. Took out a new whisk. Stainless steel. Clean. She set it on the island. She walked to the hallway. The chandelier was on now. The gold lamp off. Nestore stood beneath it. "It's done," she said. "It's done," he agreed. She smiled. He nodded. She returned to the kitchen. He returned to the study. The city slept. But not for long. Friday, 11:07 p.m. The hallway was dark. The chandelier off. The gold lamp burned low. Sarah stood beneath it, whisk in hand, when the front door exploded open. Wood splintered. The lock gave. Victor Kane stumbled through, coat torn, eyes wild. The cap was gone. The knife was back. He saw her. She saw him. The checkered floor stretched between them like a chessboard. Victor moved first. Fast. He crossed the distance in 4 strides. His hand clamped around her left arm, the one that had worn the sling, the one that still carried faint bruises. His fingers dug in. "You did this," he snarled. Sarah's breath caught. The whisk rose in her right hand, metal wires trembling. Victor shook her. "You and your boss. You think you can ruin me." She twisted. The pain flared, but she did not cry out. "You ruined yourself," she said. He raised the knife. She pressed the panic stud hidden in the wall panel behind the console. A soft click. No sound. No light. Victor did not notice. The study door flew open. Agents Dent and Corey burst through, guns drawn. Windbreakers. Badges. Voices sharp. "Drop it. Hands up." Victor spun. Knife still raised. Dent moved left. Corey right. "Last chance, Kane." Victor lunged at Sarah. She swung the whisk. It caught his wrist. The knife clattered to the marble. Corey tackled him. They hit the floor hard. Victor thrashed. Fists. Elbows. Teeth. Dent grabbed his arm. Twisted it back. Victor roared. Corey pulled the taser. Pressed it to Victor's side. The crackle was loud. Victor convulsed. Went limp. They cuffed him on the checkered floor. His cheek pressed to the black square. Blood from his lips smeared the white. Sarah stood over him, whisk still raised. "You're done," she said. Victor looked up. Eyes glassy. "You'll never be free." She lowered the whisk. "I already am." Outside, news drones buzzed. Lights pierced the windows. Cameras zoomed. The hallway lit up like a stage. Reporters shouted from the gate. The feed went live. Channel 5. Breaking. Victor Kane apprehended at Megginson Mansion. Live footage. The drones caught everything. Victor cuffed. Sarah standing. The whisk. The chandelier dark above. Dent hauled Victor up. His knees buckled. Corey steadied him. They dragged him past the gold lamp. The light caught the blood on his face. The defeat in his eyes. Sarah watched. Nestore appeared in the study doorway. Shirt untucked. Tattoos stark. He said nothing. The agents moved Victor to the front door. The splintered wood. The night beyond. Sarah followed. The whisk still in her hand. Outside, the drones circled. The gates opened. Federal SUVs waited. Lights flashing. No sirens. Dent pushed Victor into the back seat. The door slammed. Corey turned to Sarah. "You okay?" She nodded. "We'll need your statement." "Tomorrow," Nestore said. Corey looked at him. Nodded. The SUVs pulled away. The drones followed. The gates closed. The hallway was quiet again. The gold lamp flickered once. Steadied. Sarah set the whisk on the console. It stood upright, wires glinting. Nestore walked to her. "You pressed the stud," he said. "I did." He looked at the splintered door. The checkered floor. The blood smear. You held your ground. I had to. He nodded. Ms. Harrow entered, tablet in hand. The screen showed the live feed. Victor in the SUV. Head down. It's over, she said. It's finished, Nestore replied. Sarah looked at the whisk. Then at the vase. The white rose was crushed. Petals scattered. She picked up a petal. Held it. I want to clean this, she said. Leave it, Nestore said. Let it stay. She nodded. The news played all night. The drones. The arrest. The whisk. The woman in the chef's coat. Kane exposed broke records. The city did not sleep. Sarah stood in the kitchen. The counters were clean. The cake was gone. She opened the refrigerator. Took out a bottle of water. Drank. She walked to her room. The duffel was unpacked. The sweater folded. The book open. The photo of her mother face down. She turned it over. Smiled. She lay down. The ceiling cracks were gone. Painted over. Fresh white. She closed her eyes. Nestore stood in the study. The tablet was off. The safe closed. The file marked. He opened the drawer. Removed the torn photograph. The pieces no longer fit. He let them fall into the trash. He walked to the hallway. The gold lamp was off. The chandelier dark. He stood beneath it. The console held the whisk. The vase. The scattered petals. He picked up the whisk. Held it. He carried it to the kitchen. The counters gleamed. The stove cold. A new note on the island. Thank you. For the light. He set the whisk beside it. He left. Saturday, 3:14 a.m. The mansion was silent. The gates repaired. The guards tripled. Sarah woke. She walked to the kitchen. The whisk waited. She picked it up. She opened the refrigerator. Took out eggs. Milk. Butter. She started breakfast. The city slept. But it would wake up different. Victor Kane was gone. Sarah Delgado was free. Nestore Megginson stood on the balcony. The chandelier glowed behind him. The city stretched below, quiet for now. He looked at the stars. More now. Brighter. He closed the doors. He walked inside. The hallway was clean. The checkered floor polished. The blood gone. The gold lamp burned low. The console held the vase. The white rose rebuilt. Petals whole. He touched one. Then he walked to the study. The tablet was on. A new message. Ms. Harrow. Charges filed. 14 counts. No bail. He closed it. He sat in the leather chair. He closed his eyes. The storm had passed. The city was changed. The kitchen was safe. 1 week later, the mansion woke to the smell of coffee and lemon ricotta cake. Sarah stood at the stove, whisk in hand, both wrists strong. The kitchen was bright, the morning sun streaming through the tall windows. The counters gleamed. The checkered floor shone. The chandelier above the hallway cast soft prisms across the marble. She wore a new coat. White. Crisp. Black buttons. No sling. No brace. The cut on her forehead was gone. Only a faint shadow remained. Nestore entered. He paused in the doorway. She looked up. Breakfast? She asked. He nodded. She plated 2 dishes. Eggs. Bacon. Toast. A slice of cake. She carried them to the small table by the window. They ate in silence. The food was perfect. The television above the stove was off. The city had moved on. New headlines. New scandals. But the whisk remained. A symbol. A legend. Victor Kane sat in a county jail cell. Orange jumpsuit. No tie. No smile. The charges were read daily. 14 counts. Bribery. Obstruction. Assault. Stalking. No bail. Trial date pending. His lawyer visited once. Left shaking his head. The cell was small. The cot hard. The walls gray. He stared at the ceiling. Counted cracks. 1, 2, 3. He did not sleep. Sarah stood in her new loft downtown. High ceilings. Exposed brick. A kitchen twice the size of her old room. Stainless steel. Gas stove. A balcony overlooking the river. Nestore's gift. Paid in full. No strings. She unpacked the last box. A single plate. A fork. The whisk. She set it on the counter. Centered it. She opened the refrigerator. Stocked. Fresh herbs. Lemons. Cream. She smiled. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ms. Harrow. Executive chef. Official. Contract attached. She opened it. Signed. Sent. She walked to the balcony. The city sparkled below. The courthouse was a speck. The jail invisible. She closed the doors. The city buzzed with whispers. Who was the cook with the whisk? Forums. Podcasts. TikTok. A silhouette trended. A woman in white. Whisk raised. Hashtag whisk justice. No name. No face. Just the story. Sarah watched from her loft. Smiled. Closed the app. Nestore stood in the study. The tablet was off. The safe closed. The file archived. He opened the drawer. Removed a new notebook. Blank. He wrote on the cover. Sarah Delgado, executive chef. He closed it. He walked to the hallway. The chandelier was off. The gold lamp burned low. The console held a single object. Sarah's old sling. Black. Folded. Clean. He picked it up. Felt the weight. Set it down. He walked to the kitchen. The counters were empty. The stove cold. A new note on the island. Thank you. For the kitchen. For the light. For the whisk. He set the sling beside it. He opened a drawer. Took out the whisk. The same one. Stainless steel. Wires straight. He carried it to the hallway. 5:52 a.m. The exact time. The exact place. He stood beneath the chandelier. The sling on the console. The whisk in his hand. He lifted it. No one touches my kitchen, he said. The words hung in the silence. The new staff arrived at 6 a.m. 3 cooks. 2 servers. 1 dishwasher. Ms. Harrow led them through the service entrance. Nestore watched from the hallway. The head cook was young. 25. Dark hair. Nervous smile. She carried a knife roll. Her left wrist bore a faint bruise. Yellow. Old. Nestore noticed. He stepped forward. Name. Elena, she said. He nodded. Welcome. She smiled. Uncertain. He walked away. The chandelier flickered once. Steadied. The gold lamp burned low. The sling waited. The whisk turned again.